Easter's around the corner, but I'm glad it's not the Easter bunny. Amen. It's the Easter lamb. Amen. The lamb is the only thing that counts. I want to speak to you today on kind of an unusual subject. Don't know where you thought about it or not. The Lord gave me this thought last week. We're going to be reading in Matthew chapter 8 at verse 14. And when Jesus was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her. And she arose and ministered unto them. When the evening was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Now when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. Jesus said unto him, The foxes have holes, the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, let me first go to bury my father. Jesus said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead. And there's a good message in that later on. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. I want you to back up to verse 20. The foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. I want to speak to you today on the subject, at least 4 places where Jesus lay his head. Now, I know what this is speaking about, and I think you do too. It means that Jesus never had a place to call his own. He never had a house, never rented a house. I do find him asleep on a pillow in the hinder part of a ship when the disciples were on the Sea of Galilee and got scared. But that was a borrowed pillow. That was not his. Can you imagine Jesus traveling from place to place with no place to stay? Not knowing when nighttime came where he was going to stay? Not knowing when he was going to pillow his head? I read and I did some studying, tried to do some studying, and from the time he left his father's carpenter shop until he was around 33 years of age, Jesus traveled on foot around Jerusalem 3,125 miles. That's a long distance. That's about a walk from here to California if you want to take out that way. 3,175 miles. And that's not counting short trips that he made, like when Martha and Mary called him to come to the house when Lazarus had died. Not counting short trips that he went back to his hometown. And most of that travel was by sandals on dusty roads, over rocks, over tough terrain, and yet Jesus did that. No place to lay his head. I've often wondered when nighttime come, and it did in Jesus' day, when nighttime come, where was he going to lay his head? Where was he going to lay down and rest? Because he got tired and because he got weary. I read that one of the first places that Jesus had his head placed is in the book of Luke chapter 2, where the Bible says that she brought her firstborn son and laid him in a manger. That would be something. Can you see it? I ain't going to stand here. Hold it. I should have cleared that off. James said, laid him in a manger, wrapped him in swaddling clothes, something like this. Not the best. Can you imagine in heaven what Jesus wore? The best robes, the best house to live in. God didn't make any junk. Amen. He made everything perfect. Amen. And yet when Jesus took up on himself the form of a servant, was wrapped in human flesh, came into this world through a virgin. You hear me? Through a virgin. Amen. And she laid that babe in a manger because there was no room in the inn. He deserved the very best. He deserved the very best that they could afford to give him when he came into this world. But he didn't have the very best. Wrapped in swaddling clothes and laid in a manger. Amen. A hog trough or a cow trough or an ox trough, if you would, was the first place that the Bible says Jesus ever laid. Right. You talk about a step down in humanity. When God took upon himself that form and came into this world, he did it for one reason. That was for you and for me and every lost person in this world. And he stepped down from heaven and came into this world and was laid in a manger. Right. I need your help. Second place Jesus was ever laid. Was in his mother's arms. Right? Don't you know that every mother is going to pick up her baby and nestle it in her arms, to love it and to feed it? Now listen, think about this. You are holding deity in your arms. That's the Son of God. Amen. That's Jesus who came into this world to save his people from their sins. You're going to take care of him. You're going to see that his head's right. You ever see a man pick up a baby? Yeah, you know how careful and how shaky we are. Mothers just have a natural instinct of reaching down and getting the baby and nestling that baby in her arms. She's got to feed the baby, right? She's got to nurture baby. She's got to make. Jesus grew up just like any other normal boy. He got hungry. He cried. There's a song I often hear sing at Christmas time. No crying he makes. I believe Jesus cried just like any other baby. I really do. He was all human being and yet all God. Amen. While she was holding him in her arms and cradling that head in her arms. After she fed the baby, you birthed the baby. Birthed the baby. Birthed the baby. Jesus had to be birthed just like any other kid, don't you think? Amen. He grew up. And then after a while, he needed changing. And that's when she hollered, "Husband!" Your turn. I don't know where she did that or not, but I thought it didn't got good preaching. But anyway, that's the second place Jesus laid his head. Laid his head in the cradle, laid his head in his mother's arms. And guess where the next place is he laid his head? On an old rugged cross. He grew up in his father's carpenter shop. 12 years at least he was there. We find him leaving his father's shop, going down to the temple, and sitting there answering questions from lawyers and doctors. And he astounded them with his knowledge. Of course, he was as much God in that cradle and as much God in her arms as he was any other time. His head full of knowledge, his life full of knowledge, and everything he got from God. But he found himself down there in that place answering the doctor's questions, and they were astonished at the knowledge that this young boy had. Well, he grew up from there, 12 years. He left his father's, about that time, he left his father's carpenter shop and began to travel. He traveled all over the land of Israel, some into Egypt as well, and some into foreign countries. But as he traveled, he had his needs met by God, not by man. Right. Man laughed at him, man mocked him, man run him off. Man tried to kill him, but he just kept on walking. You know, the Christian life is not an easy life sometimes. Sometimes you just have to shake off things people say about you. Amen. Shake off things that people do, and just keep on walking with the Lord Jesus Christ. You just got to quit. You can't quit. You got to keep on going. Amen. There is no quitting place in this war. That's right. Amen. Amen. Y'all hear me? Amen. No quitting place in this war. We're in this thing until the end. And when the end comes, you'll be glad you stayed. Amen. Amen. So he's walking now with his disciples. Some of them stay with him. Some of them desert him. Some of them don't like him. Some do like him. But as I've already said, from the time he left his father's carpenter shop until he got to Calvary, approximately, and these professors and psychologists did their best for 2 years, measuring the distance that Jesus walked. 3,125. That's a lot of miles on foot. He had no motor car. He had no scooter. He didn't have an animal until he rode his triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Dependent completely on somebody else feeding him and clothing him, making his clothes clean. I believe he went to Martha and Mary's house more than one time, because there he was welcome, and there he could find a pillow to put his head on. Jesus got weary 40 days and nights in the wilderness, tempted by the devil. You know he got hungry. You know that he got tired. You know that he got weak. You know that he would love to have laid down. But he had no place to lay his head. Isn't that something to think about? The Son of God should have had the best pillow to put his head on. He would have made this Mike Lindell with this pillow thing on TV look like a clown. Amen. What is it, My Pillow they call it? Yeah. I've got them, they look good. But Jesus should have had the best pillow to put his head on that anybody ever had. We're talking about the Son of God. We're not talking about just an ordinary boy and not just an ordinary half-grown man. Most of the time, Jesus didn't even eat. You read about how many times he fasted and went without water and went without food. Yes, that's the Son of God. And now he's got his place. He's laid his head down for one more time. So he laid his head in the cradle. He laid his head in his mother's arms. He laid his head, guess what? On the cross. On the cross. She just read about Rita Dolorosa. Jesus got to Calvary, laid down his life freely. Amen. Nobody forced him. Right. He wasn't pushed down on the cross. Right. He knew that he came into this world for one reason, and that was to die on an old rugged cross and shed his blood for the forgiveness of mankind. And Jesus laid his head down on that old rugged cross. They nailed his hands, they nailed his feet, they pierced his side, and lifted him up above the heavens and the earth. And there he hung, the best friend you and I ever had, and the best sacrifice that the world could ever hear about. That's the sacrifice of Jesus, putting his head on an old rugged cross. Think about it. Thank God for the blood that he shed. Amen. Thank God that he was willing to hang there. Thank God that he died for two things. He's always been identified with these. He always has. And he loved them until the end. And thank God for the time that Jesus put his head on an old rugged cross. Amen. One more time I find where he pillowed his head. And that was in the tomb. They come and take his body down from the cross. Joseph of Arimathea, Nicodemus who came a night, took his body down from the cross, wrapped it in linen clothes, placed it in Joseph's tomb, and there he lay with his head on some napkins. Those napkins are important, by the way. There he lay, but he wasn't going to stay there long. He was just going to take a short nap. On the third day morning, he come out of that grave. He didn't need any assist. The Bible says God rolled the stone away, used some angels to do that, and out of that tomb came the Lord Jesus Christ, alive and well, and not needing a pillow anymore. Amen. Laid down his life in that old grave, cold, dark grave. But how the sun did shine on that third day when he walked out of that tomb. Thank God he's still alive today. Amen. Glad he is. Hallelujah. Well, the napkin, when they went to check on him, was still folded. Laid to a side. He said, Peter, what's so important about that? When we were in the land of Israel several years ago, Charlie and I, we sat at a meal. They told us if you had to get up from the meal for any reason, maybe go to the restroom or just walk around for a minute to finish your delicious meal that they serve over there. Amen. Oh, amen, my foot. Amen. We woke up one morning, got an Ashton, and this is what we had for breakfast. Boiled eggs and pickled herring. Yeah. Boiled on that go good together. Made about 6 boiled eggs and let the pickle fish go. But anyway, if you had to get up from the table, you folded your napkin to let them know that you wasn't through and you'd be back. Okay? When they opened up that tomb, there lay that folded napkin. Right. Jesus was telling the world, I'm not through. Amen. I'm not through. I may be gone for a little while, but I'm coming back. Amen. What a signal he left where his head was laid in that tomb. But it's not there anymore. People wearing chains and everything else with Jesus in the cradle. He's not in the cradle. He's not in the grave. He's alive and well, seated by the right hand of God the Father. And thank God one day he's going to step out and come again.